How's it going? I hope you're having a wonderful evening. And we are on video number 4 of the Ships Week series. And to kind of review where we've been, so we're following the journey of Lehi's family, and they started out in Jerusalem. And also Ishmael's family joined along. So starting in Jerusalem, we left there and started traveling through the wilderness and went through many different locations, different experiences, just so much learning and growth in this wilderness stage, and eventually ended up in a place called Salalah. And so Lehi's family, they called this place Bountiful. So we're on number 3 here. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but at first, so I had this stage called comfort over here. So these terms kind of relate each of these stages to us. So like abundance and learning. And I was kind of confused, so I named this comfort. And the reason for that was that, so after traveling through the desert and going through all of those experiences and hardships and difficulties, coming to a place so bountiful, had wild fruit, wild honey, water. It was on the coast. Beautiful place, I'm sure, and they probably came upon that and were just so comforted and were able to kind of just relax for a bit, And it's kind of similar to us in our lives, sometimes you can go through this period of growth and learning and experience and then end up in this place that is comfortable, that, fulfills your needs and probably some of your wants, and you can feel like this could be the place, this could be the promised land, the place that I'm going to stay the rest of my life. So you could call it comfort, and that's what I did at the start too. But then as I started kind of picking at it and thinking about it more, I came upon this term, the leap stage. So at this point, they've been there for many days, and Nephi gets this divine inspiration that he needs to build a ship. So that could be taken different ways, So they've been through the wilderness and just were, thinking, man, this place is beautiful and this could be the place. And then Nephi gets this inspiration to build a ship, meaning like, really, we're going to be leaving this wonderful place. And I guess, yeah, so in our lives, like you get to that comfortable place and then you get this call. You get this inspiration that you need to do something great, to be something great. And sometimes it can be a big change of direction. Like for them, they had been traveling on land this entire time. And now they're going to be crossing the ocean. And I call it leap because that is such a leap. Traveling on land is one thing, but the ocean is a totally different thing. I mean, you have a lot of control on land. At sea, there's really not that amount of control. And so, basically, that's why I called it leap stage. And then, so on my little list here, so I didn't have room on the other side of the board, but I put a little list for number 3 here. So comfort, the call, and then I like this phrase, build a hero. And so they'd started in Jerusalem and kind of went through all these different experiences. So if we go back over to our list, like getting the brass plates, marriage, visions, divine guidance. They'd gone through hardships. And so basically this whole section of the journey was really like building a hero in Nephi and in other members of the family too. And so even in our lives, like sometimes you might get frustrated with experiences you have to go through, but just know, that the end product is a better you, a more heroic you. And so Nephi gets this deal that he's going to build a ship, right? And so at that point, his brothers find out that he's going to be building it, and they don't believe. They're like, "You're going to build a ship and cross the ocean?" And that's kind of a big thing with us. So naysayers, so sometimes people won't believe in your call, in your mission, and they might even be close, like family close. And at that point, so Nephi, he just stepped up to it. He just told them, I'm going to be doing this, to the point that they were actually going to kill Nephi. And at that point, divine power intervened. And I think there's a big message in that when you know your call, you know your mission, whatever it may be, divine power is on your side. Like, really, naysayers or no naysayers, right? Divine power will be there. And so another big thing too is along the journey. So I was chatting about before, back all the way here in Aqaba, Nephi had learned about iron manufacturing. He didn't use that until he started to make tools for building the ship. And so that experience, that began at the beginning of their journey, basically, was used. And same with us, you might draw from experiences that you've had a number of years ago to build your project, to put it, into full force. And so the next thing I wanted to explain on this is, so help from others. So I actually have a hard time with this sometimes. So I create music, right? And I record music. So I recorded a bunch of music, and I'd never really mixed music before or understood it. And I went to a mixing course. Well, not really a mixing course, more of a course to know how to learn and use the software. And met a mixing engineer. And that was such a critical piece in being able to finally put like a final product, like the song Ships. I needed that help. I needed that resource. So basically I record the music, make it sound kind of good, and then I send it to him, and he mixes it, balances the volumes, and just does amazing things to it. After that, there's the mastering engineer. So I have these other people that are helping in my project, and they're just things that I really couldn't do on my own. And so Nephi, like in our story, he needed the help of his family in building that ship. And so I like how this story really parallels what we go through as we're in this leap stage and we need to build this project. But there is help out there, like people there put in place just so that we can really benefit from that and really build this project. So another thing on the list is faith and trust. And I have listed here a couple of questions. So first off, how? So a lot of times we think, how am I going to do this? How is it going to come together? And I think we can overly focus on that sometimes. And really the how isn't our part. Our part is to take action on the steps that have been given to us. So you get a step, inspiration, whatever, you do it. And I'm going to say this doesn't happen 100% of the time. Sometimes the how will be kind of a test for us. So yes, sometimes the how is a part of what we need to contribute. But whenever that happens, it is because we know how, because it is a part of us, and we can solve that problem or whatever issue it might be. And so in Nephi's case, it's so interesting because he didn't build his ship the way that he had seen the other ships being built. He received divine inspiration on how to build that ship. And so whenever going to like embark on a certain project, a big thing is whether, I've got this on this list, creative versus competitive. You know, and so this has been so big in the different, I guess, different programs that I've went through, different books that I've read, that you really need to find a creative way to create your product, I guess. You know, a creative product. If you get into a market that's too competitive, it can be really difficult to build on that. And so that's where this inspiration, kind of your unique niche of what you want to create, comes into play. So Nephi, he built the ship, and it was different than the other ships that he'd seen built, but he used that ship to cross the ocean. He didn't use a ship like the other men had built that he'd seen previously. And so I think that was, I guess, trusting of him to know that, you know, I'm building this ship differently. He didn't know what it was going to end out like, but it came out excellent, like wonderful craftsmanship, and they used that ship. So next on the list here is this phrase. So heroes leap, and basically building out that hero in this wilderness phase. And then in the leap stage, you know, you have the choice. It is your choice. Am I going to leap, or am I going to stay? Am I going to call this place comfort, or am I going to call this place the leap stage, right? And so Nephi had that choice, and he took it. He went with it. He built the ship and made the leap. And I have some numbers written down here of what that was worth. So I was trying to find a measure of like what that leap was worth to them. And so basically this little patch of fertile land at Salalah, it's about 196 square miles. That's the size of it. And so they definitely could have stayed there and inherited a little piece of land there and been able to prosper. But they would have been limited, right? 196 square miles. In taking the leap, in taking that leap and landing in the Americas, so the Americas, it's 16,428,000 square miles. So like just something that you almost can't comprehend, like the size difference here. 196 square miles versus 16 million. It's just huge. And so basically that payoff, that's your payoff for taking that risk. You know, they took a risk, a giant risk. You know, going into the ocean, they're all of, you know, how is this going to happen? How are we going to have enough food? Are we going to have enough food? Are we going to be able to make this journey? You know, like what's going to happen when, or how large is this ocean? They didn't know, you know, and you're definitely not going to know everything from the get-go. And I don't know, I've just really loved going through this experience. And so basically that's where I'm going to leave it tonight. And then tomorrow I'll pick up as they travel out to sea. But thanks a lot for watching, and I guess I'll chat with you tomorrow. Thanks a lot.